and welcome to a very special Thanksgiving episode of Murder Dictionary Podcast. My name is Brianna, and over there is Kelly.
Wait,
that's not what a turkey sounds like. What are you doing?
Wait,
I thought you were trying to do a pigeon for a second.
That's kind of what came out.
Like,
I eat pigeons.
Like Thanksgiving and pigeons and Mike Tyson and
yeah.
It's Halloween on the Kelly Clarkson Show with Kate Flannery. Plus, we're investigating paranormal activity with the stars of Destination Fear.
And we sleep alone every night.
What? You buddy system, people, buddy system. And a spectacular proposal. It's my Halloween show, y'all. Next, Kelly.
The Kelly Clarkson Show, today at 2 on NBC for New York.
What did turkeys gobble? Gobble,
yes,
gobble,
they
gobble?
Do.
That's a pretty good gobble.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's like deep throating.
It's just like deep throating.
I'm really good at that.
Yes, you are. So before we get started, we just wanted to remind you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you haven't already rated, reviewed, and subscribed on iTunes, we would appreciate if you would do that as well. And we have a Patreon, so it's patreon.com/Murder Dictionary Podcast, and Threadless if you want to get merch. We've got t-shirts, iPhone cases, various housewares. So that's threadless.murderdictionarypodcast, I believe. I still need to, I haven't memorized that.
A quick Google search will do it, because I never even type it in. I just Google Threadless.
No. But everything has links in our show notes. Along with those links will also be timestamps for when the story tonight gets a little bit intense and particularly violent, gruesome, etc. So if you want to skip that and pick back up where the story tames down a little bit, those timestamps will be in there. And the last thing that will be in the show notes will be links to resources for victims. We're really big advocates of mental health and, all sorts of things that you can get help for. We want you to get that help. And many of the people in our stories could benefit from that. So we put those links in there. Sweet. So if you need CPS, domestic violence resources, mental health resources, check out those links. And with all that said, I think that we're good to get started with our Thanksgiving twins story.
Is it all about yams?
It's about turkey. And the rest of the episode will just be you making those noises.
Oh.
And the twins part comes in because I'm going to start making those noises. So tonight's Thanksgiving twin story covers the Mehrige family.
The
I
Mehrige?
hope I'm saying that right. It's Mehrhige. Mehrige.
Mehrige.
Probably.
Right? Mehrige? Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. I just am banging on the fact that everybody knows we pronounce things wrong, so it's good. Right?
Yeah, I
hope.
hope.
We all know.
Mm-hmm.
So Carol and Michael Mehrige were from Florida. Great Florida story. You
Great
know this
story.
is going to be good.
Yeah.
They had a son named Paul and twin daughters named Lisa and Carla. They were a well-to-do family, pretty well off, sent the kids to expensive private school. The kids never wanted for anything. It didn't really say that the kids were spoiled or anything, but they got what they wanted.
Well off in Florida just reminds me of like cocaine mansions. Like it's all Scarface.
That's true. It's kind of like, I don't know. There's some pretty nice areas of Florida.
Oh,
like,
definitely.
Ooh, damn.
That's why everyone like retires there, right? All the old people and stuff with money.
They're like, we got our money. Let's just get a big ass house and live with some gators.
By
that
the
sounds
beach.
relaxing.
And manatees. So
So Michael Mehrige was an honor student. He was handsome. He was athletic. He was really smart as well and highly motivated to succeed. So he never really depended on his athleticism or good looks or anything like that to get him through.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to be a pretty well-rounded person. People say that he was also really personable and funny, not necessarily a class clown or anything. I mean, not necessarily funny as us, but
yeah, of course.
He was very funny when he was going to be social. Otherwise, he was kind of introverted. But he was a smart, funny kid,
God, where's he at?
Right?
What is he doing like right now?
Everything sounds great,
Yeah.
So a classmate called him well-liked, but not necessarily popular. The anonymous classmate says he was a smart kid at private school, so none of us were really popular. I like that. In fact, so one of the very few issues that Paul did have during school was that he was really afraid that he was going to go bald. By all other accounts, people say he was just like the kid you wanted to be, just like well-rounded, have everything going for him. But he had this really huge insecurity and fear that he was going to lose all his hair.
Was he going bald?
No, not at all. People just say at 17, he just got this like all of a sudden a bug up his ass about how his dad was bald, so he was going to go bald. And it was like the worst case scenario, like nothing worse could ever happen, you know?
Just bathes in Rogaine at all times, doesn't even need it.
Exactly. Yeah, people say that at 17, he started using Rogaine.
Wow.
Yes. So I don't know. I don't know if anyone else out there has smelled it, but Rogaine smells awful.
Does it? I don't.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I've heard stories about this shit. I don't have a sense of smell, but that's a whole nother issue.
You made the story sound like I've heard stories. Like, ooh, those Rogaine
It's
stories.
spooky. It's like so smelly that ghosts come off your head.
Just fumes.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, that's a big deal. Like some people will be like, it smells that bad that it's like, do you want to lose all your hair or do you want to smell terrible? Like you have to weigh it out. It's that bad.
Just wear a fucking hat, dude.
I mean, beanies are fucking awesome. Hats are
Seriously.
awesome.
I love boyfriend at 17, 18 was bald. Bald by 18. He looks so good in a hat.
Right?
He looked good
Rock
with a bald
that hat.
spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, a hat or beanies.
It's just
fine.
there's worse things that could happen in
Totally.
life. But for some reason, he was crazy preoccupied with it out of nowhere. Yeah. But that was the only issue people said that he had. So Paul graduated third in his class from like this Miami rich kid school called Gulliver Prep. Gulliver Prep. In the yearbook, Paul used his senior photo page to express gratitude for, quote, all 32 members of his family. Instead of doing the typical like senior bullshit thing of being like, we made it, or making a joke about how it's finally over or some bullshit.
Yeah.
He used the whole page to just talk about his family and say thank you to everybody.
So, talk about beer pong or
Right,
anything
like-
cool? What?
Or like, I'm going off to college, like, fuck yeah, something. But no, he was stoked on his family.
Fuck bitches get money
I mean,
in college.
that's the best. Or as Jane likes to say, take dicks, fold money. So he used the yearbook's printed text to say, quote, Mom and Dad, thank you for all you've given me. I have been so lucky to be blessed with having twin sisters and being your protective older brother. I love you now and will forever.
He got a whole page to say that, or
Just big ass fonts.
It's size.
He actually bought a
14.
billboard. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I'm sure there was more to it or whatnot, but
Yeah,
I mean,
that's really sweet.
for a fucking teenage boy, that's pretty sweet.
Did he close with a big ups to Jesus?
Right? And his senior picture is just him pointing up, closing his eyes.
Oh,
He's got one of those Jesus chains, you know? If that wasn't what happened, he fucked up.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying. So, another classmate who asked to remain anonymous said he had a plan. He was going to go to UM and become a doctor. It seemed like he just had everything going for him while other people were still kind of fuddling around. So he was the one kid that really had his shit together.
You don't want to peak, though, too early. I think it's better to be a fuck up and then peak instead of peaking and then
I'm so on board with that.
just projecting all my
I feel
stuff.
like that's the story of our lives.
Yeah.
You know?
You never want to be the hot one in high school. Seriously.
No, it's only down from
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
And I feel like I knew that even in high school.
Mhm.
I looked around and I was like, okay, you think that you're the shit right now,
Yeah.
but that means this is the best time of your life. And that's fucking sad.
Right?
You have so much more life.
Especially because Ugg boots and like Abercrombie was a big, like, that's the
Oh,
peak of your
God.
life was Red Bull and cigarettes and Abercrombie. And
Yeah.
I'm fucking sitting here with my acne and my sparkling personality, and life is great now, if you can tell. About to peak.
We're just heading up. You know what I mean? Still going.
All we do is win. Win.
We're not even playing a game and all we do is win.
Game of life.
So, as we've learned from a lot of our stories here, many mental health challenges really don't surface until late teens, early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened with Paul. Everything was fine throughout high school. You know, hearing him described, everybody said he had his shit together. But then he went off and went to do his plan, go to University of Miami, and whatever pre-existing condition he had or whatever he was struggling with that hadn't manifested itself yet started to come out.
He probably took hallucinogens. Maybe.
Who knows?
College,
yeah.
increased drug use.
But also, yeah, it could be drug use. It could be stress is a big
True.
thing and a huge life change because a lot of people at that point in their life, yes, the mental health challenges are coming, but the reality is everything just changed in their life.
Yeah.
They're no longer living in the same place. There's different expectations. There's new people. Like all sorts of shit is different. And so that's very stressful. And sometimes that's when mental health really becomes an issue, you know?
Yeah, when we get that stress, we just like eat, you know? Like I've had 2 croissants today. 2 lattes.
To be fair, that's probably not your fault because I bought you the croissants. Maybe I should have known better, but...
No, you knew exactly the right amount of croissants to get me.
2 is the magic number.
Yeah.
Just some DP croissants. So, of course, Paul was triggered in this era where he just suddenly had these big life changes and he started to struggle with depression and anxiety and different things started to pop up for him. So he was in honors classes at the University of Miami, and he was really struggling to keep up with his studies and all his extracurriculars and all the things he was used to being good at, you know? And at 19, he had a nervous breakdown. He returned home, and his parents attempted to help him kind of get stable and get back on his feet. And his mom said that Paul battled severe depression and obsessive compulsive disorder. After they kind of helped him out a little bit and he got maybe a little bit more stable, he returned to school. But after graduating, he really could never hold a job. And he was financially supported by his parents well into his adulthood.
He didn't get a job because it was the OCD or it was just because of mental health issues or?
Yeah, for some reason, like maybe he could get like some jobs but couldn't keep them and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It sounds like he never had stable employment, really, you know? And especially for someone that in high school, everybody knew he was going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Like that was a concrete fact, you know? And then all of a sudden, he really couldn't keep it together to really keep even a menial job, you know?
Yeah, that's why you never want to be voted most likely to be successful.
Right? That's big shoes to fill. Yeah.
Yeah, he sounds like a normal doctor, though, like depressed, OCD. That's like
yeah, possibly.
part of being a doctor, I think.
Just means you would have been good at your job, man. You just had to push through. Yeah, I don't know. He kept struggling,
That
you
sucks.
know, and he really was supposed to keep going to school and keep moving forward. And he couldn't continue school, but he also couldn't really work either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, you can't do anything and you were just so capable. It's such a contrast.
So frustrating to just suddenly be completely different, you know?
Yeah, it's like being the super hot kid in high school and then you just gained 40 pounds.
Exactly the same.
Same exact.
Except for it's happening in your brain, like non-consensually.
Oh, yeah.
No, but it is like a huge, complete reality check, you know, of just like, oh, I have these expectations. And then all of a sudden that's not your life anymore, period. Like, that's crazy.
Bum out.
Yeah.
At 19, too. There's a lot of shit going on at 19.
There's so many other things you could be doing. I don't know.
Like drugs or fucking. Or homework, whatever.
All of the above.
Huh.
So extended family members say that he was never really able to recover from his breakdown. While battling OCD and depression, he suffered from insomnia. He had extreme weight fluctuations. And of course, his ultimate fear of losing his hair happened and he got a receding hairline. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And I mean, it's stress and it's like all these mental things and all of a sudden, like, yeah. your hair starts disappearing. So he would repeatedly shower and shave. He struggled to make decisions for himself, and he was, like I said, not employable. He would often not take his medicine, so maybe he would get it together for a little while, and then all of a sudden, without taking his medicine, he would like go back to these sort of struggles.
Yeah, regress.
And at one point, he even shot himself in a suicide attempt, but he survived.
But he fucked that up? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, how stressful. Honestly. Seriously, if he didn't lose all his hair is gone now. Now it's fucking gone.
I wish I knew more about the actual suicide attempt, to be honest. Like, I don't know what exactly went wrong or what the plan was or whatever, but he shot himself and
it's fucked up.
And it didn't work. I don't know. I really don't know specifics. And I don't know. I mean, I hate when people say that suicide is a cry for attention because it fucking isn't.
Yeah.
Period.
Totally not.
But I don't know if he did kind of like purposely fuck things up, or I don't know. There's something about that just
Maybe
I don't
chickened
know.
out at the last moment.
Possibly.
I always assume.
That's you know what? That's probably what happened. Because I feel like that's a common thing where you move at the last moment because it's terrifying, you know, and you don't hit the exact spot or whatever.
Yeah, I wonder how he did it because they say don't put it up to your temple. They say do it under your chin because a lot of the time you can shoot yourself and then you'll just be blind. You know what I mean? When you put it up to your temple, like it's like a common thing where people
That's
fuck
so
up.
sad
Then
to
you
get that dark that's just what you're thinking of doing.
Yeah, you were
know?
already depressed, and then if you weren't depressed, now you're blind. Now you're really fucking depressed. Seriously,
It just keeps getting darker. Like, fuck. Yeah, I can't imagine
No.
being like that hopeless, you know? It's just so sad. But he did survive. And of course, you know, his family, again, tried to come in and help him out and figure out how to get him better.
Yeah.
But it seemed like at this point he kind of split and was against his family.
That sucks.
Even though they were trying to help him and whatnot, like he just saw them as the enemy. So he threatened to cut the throat of one of his sisters at one point. Court documents show that Paul and his siblings had a lot of back and forth trouble. So in the early 2000s, Paul called the cops and accused his sister of trying to kill him. A few weeks later, he dropped his request for a restraining order against his sister. But then, after a few years passed by, in 2006, his sister Carla, she's the one that requested a restraining order on him, saying that he threatened to kill her and himself. But, again, the request for the restraining order was withdrawn a few weeks later.
They probably all realized, well, yeah, it's family.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you don't want to do that to your family, of course, or to any loved one. I think that's why so many people do withdraw restraining orders. It's really not that uncommon.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
You get this moment of just like, oh, I need to stand up. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, but a couple weeks go by, everything's quiet, everything's fine. Or this guilt of saying, this is my loved one and I don't want to hurt them.
And restraining orders don't really do anything.
That's the other part, you know?
Until something happens.
Like, I don't want to believe that that's part of their thought process. But I mean, really, we kind of all know that. There's not much anybody can do unless they violate the restraining order. So it doesn't really ensure your safety.
Not at all.
Nope.
Just on paper.
Yeah. Fuck. So by 2009, Paul was actively planning to take out his family members. It seems he kind of had this idea in his head that he would hurt his parents most by hurting his sisters. So in late October 2009, he started shopping for supplies. He spent $2,000 on at least 4 guns and ammunition in 2 Broward County gun shops.
I wonder if, like, were they, like, super successful and had it all together, had no mental health issues? Because what would make him want to be so... What did the parents do? I'm just wondering.
I have no
if it's
idea.
Mental health, or did they actually do something?
Yeah,
Weird.
it's just... There's no information because it seems by all other accounts, everything was fine.
Yeah, they put
but
him
something
through
snapped
school.
in his brain.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe tying 2 with his like, because it said he never recovered from the nervous breakdown. So maybe they had something to do with initiating that, or maybe they weren't there. Some type of like salty feelings, because it seems like he really has it out for them.
Possibly. I don't know. It just seems by all accounts everything was really, really normal at his house.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So he requested at the gun shop that a scope be attached with a bolt-action Remington 700 rifle, and he told the salesperson that he was going to use the weapon for hunting.
Yeah.
Which for some reason just creeps me out every time I hear that, when I know that it's going to be used in a crime against people,
True.
Like hunting for people? Is that what's going in your mind?
No, you really want to you want to be able to look the deer in the face.
God, it's
when
just
you're
so
shooting
creepy.
it.
Like,
that's what you
what
need
is
to
that?
scope for. Like, I want to look at the
awful.
animal straight up, make sure I definitely hit it. But
Ugh, it creeps
Yeah.
me the fuck out. So as Thanksgiving got closer, Paul also packed clothes and withdrew about $12,000 in cash, which I have no idea how he had 12 grand if he couldn't keep a job. But maybe as time went on, because this is, like 9-ish years after his breakdown and he started getting things together, maybe he was leading up to this, getting better at holding a job. That I don't know.
I swear to God, if his parents gave him an allowance and he used that to
Oh
buy,
my God.
I'd fucking flip out.
I didn't even think of that. Oh my
12
God.
grand, his parents are well off too. And
Fuck.
I mean, Jesus.
Oh my God. So Paul's immediate family was planning on going to a cousin's house for Thanksgiving, and Paul asked his parents several times about the plans for the holiday. This was really unusual since he rarely attended family gatherings. And his cousins, whose house it was actually at, he hadn't seen them for over a decade. And his cousin's husband had only met him like twice, even though they had been married for a while. So it just seemed really strange, but nobody really said anything. They're just like, oh, okay, Paul wants to join us,
Nice surprise.
Yeah. And of course, people always want to give their family member the benefit of the doubt. So his parents, even though they talked to him about the plans for Thanksgiving, they never told their hosts, Paul's cousins, Makayla Sitton and her husband Jim, that he might be coming, because they still kind of thought it was unsure.
Yeah, and you don't want to like stress everyone out too.
Right, like
maybe just a heads up.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, hey, this may happen. I don't know. I would say something.
Especially because there's like a weirdness with the restraining orders. If restraining orders had never been brought up, then maybe I probably never say anything. But
yeah, if it was just an average thing, then hey, can I bring a +1 at the last minute? Might not be a big deal. But because of the history of violence,
you might want to mention it.
Maybe
It'd be
a
different
little
if he
bit.
was flaky.
Right?
Violent is one thing.
But that's the thing, is like, because he never committed to coming and because he'd missed so many family events, I think they were kind of banking on the fact that he wasn't going to come. They're just like, there's no way.
Yeah.
He never comes to Thanksgiving. Why would we tell them? Because he's not going to show up.
Makes sense.
That's what I think was going on. So on Thanksgiving 2009, Paul's immediate family headed over to Muriel and Jim Sitton's house in Jupiter, Florida, which is a beach town 55 miles outside of Miami. Their house was in an upscale gated community. It was decorated all festively for the holidays. One of the decorations was little notes written by their 6-year-old daughter, Makayla, about how thankful she was for her family.
Stop.
Yeah.
It'd be only one note if I'm 6 years old. Why does she have multiple notes? That's so fucking cute. Holy shit.
I know. It's so sweet.
My notes are, you guys are cool. Thanks.
Right? So 16 family members arrived to celebrate. While the family was sitting around, they were chatting, Paul called his mother. And he told Carol that he was on his way and he needed directions. So she handed the phone off to somebody who knew the area better and told her daughter, Lisa, I hope he doesn't come and kill us all tonight.
Not funny.
Yeah.
Dead on. Oh,
Bad
man.
joke, Mom.
Yeah.
Bad joke. Totally not as good as dad jokes either. So Lisa responded and told her mom that she had the exact same thought when she heard that he was on his way. And she added, don't say anything to dad because it would get him really upset if he knew we thought that.
Moms are always right. Women are always right.
Just that
Point.
mom intuition.
Yeah.
You got to listen to it. So Paul got directions. He arrived. He was pretty quiet throughout the evening. And people recall that he didn't eat anything. If you're not on a diet or a cleanse or have some major health issues, if you don't eat at Thanksgiving, you're murdering us.
Don't care. Eat the broccoli. Eat the fucking peas. I don't know what kind of green is there.
Some green beans.
Have a drink. Have a Kool-Aid.
Something. Yeah, that's creepy as fuck. I would be scared if that happened, honestly.
Yeah, unless you're drinking like 4 bottles of wine. That's like the only. If you're the drunk in the corner.
If your food is alcohol, if you're the drunk uncle, that's kind of understandable. There's always one.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just beer and Marlboros.
True story.
Uncle Jim is so cute.
Yeah, that would
creep
freaks me out.
Not even yams? Fuck you.
How can you
Yams
not
are
eat
stuffing.
yams, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You crazy.
Yeah, if you don't eat yams, you're a sociopath. You know?
Totally. No, agreed. Fuck yeah. I stand by that.
Right? After dinner, the family gathered around their piano and sang songs together.
What?
This whole
That's
thing
creepy
just
to
sounds like
Yeah.
fucking Norman Rockwell as hell. It's crazy. But I mean, I don't know. They were just kind of that family. Everything was kind of that cute. You know?
Do you sing Christmas songs or because, dinner's over? Or?
Apparently what they played was mostly church music, hymns and kind of thankful, grateful kind of songs, but with Jesus in them. So I don't know. I mean, it's sweet. I'm not a religious person, but I can appreciate how that is a very celebratory thing for people.
Yeah, we're going to do just T-Pain at my house.
Nothing but some Flo Rida, some Pitbull, some Sean Paul. Yeah. Let's get this thing going. Just like the stupidest, just dumbest.
It'd be good.
Let's do it. That's what I'm thankful for, is us shaking our booties.
And shitty music.
So, I mean, they were sweet. They were just singing church songs. The other thing that happened that night was that Makayla, the 6-year-old that made the decorations, she came down and did sort of this dress rehearsal for her part in the Nutcracker that she was performing the next day.
Stop.
Yeah. So I can totally imagine this whole family just sitting down and like going to the edge of the room and making a little stage for her so she can get in the middle of the living room and do her little song and dance.
This is so perfect. Nothing can go wrong.
No, this is going to be a wonderful Thanksgiving. Everybody went home. It was beautiful. I'm sorry, that's not the case.
Nah, it's okay. What happened to little Makayla?
I know, right? You just know. So afterwards, after her little performance, she went to bed and the family kind of resumed their festivities. There was a little bit more singing and a little bit more talk and whatever. And as the night was kind of winding down, people were starting to seem like they were going to leave. Paul went outside and he returned a few minutes later. He walked back in the house. He didn't say a word to anybody, and he pulled out his guns and started shooting. His first shot was fired at his 76-year-old aunt, Raymonde Joseph, and he shot her once in the shoulder, and then she fell to the ground. Her husband kind of knelt down over her and went to stop the bleeding. Paul pointed the gun at her chest and he fired again while her husband was still right there.
What the fuck did she do?
I know. That's
ridiculous.
Honestly, that's one of the most confusing parts to me. I don't know what the history was with that aunt. There was something there. It must have been, because a lot of the other things seemed very deliberate. He next shot his 33-year-old twin sisters, Carla and Lisa. And Lisa was actually pregnant at the time.
Oh, man.
Yeah. He also, as he was shooting his sisters, he wounded his brother-in-law, Patrick, and another extended family member named Clifford. But by all accounts, they weren't the target at all. It was clearly the sisters. He aimed at his uncle after that, but the gun misfired twice. So he kind of just said, fuck it. He got frustrated and he moved on. He turned to leave the room, and people heard him say, I've been waiting 20 years to do this.
Whoa.
Yeah. Which is so strange because nothing happened 20 years ago.
Yeah, what
like that was the best time of his life.
Totally.
I don't understand.
On top of the world.
After that, He headed for the stairs and he made his way up to 6-year-old Makayla's bedroom where he opened fire.
Where she was waiting with a gun and shot him in the fucking face. She was ready.
I wish.
No?
I'm sorry.
Oh, shit.
I know. He shot once and he left the room. But his brother-in-law, who was still recovering from his injuries, brother-in-law was laying on the floor. He saw Paul leave the room and then just immediately turn back. He returned inside her bedroom and shot 2 more times.
No. What the
Yes.
fuck, dude?
The rest of the family believes that he would have kept killing more family members, kind of at random. His main targets seemed to be the sisters, but he just kept shooting. But they escaped out of the house. Everybody started running, and they believe more people would have died had they not done that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, staying inside wouldn't have.
Oh, yeah.
That'd have been.
So during the 911 call, operators heard family members crying and screaming in the background. It was a really awful scene. Jim Sitton, who was Makayla's father, believes that Paul didn't plan to kill Makayla, and he thinks that he became jealous when he saw her performing and getting all that attention and getting praised by everyone else in the family. I mean, we had the reaction and we didn't even see her, you know?
She's fucking 6.
Right, like you're supposed to do that, but it seems like, people think maybe it triggered some jealousy or some feelings of just kind of wanting to take that light away, which is fucked up.
Yeah.
Makes me not so happy. After the murders, Paul fled the scene and he went into hiding. A couple days later, prosecutors issued an arrest warrant for him for 4 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder. A $10,000 reward was initially offered for information leading to his arrest, but as time went on, nobody found him for a while, and the reward grew to $100,000. I need to make a living just searching for people that there are rewards for. I could be doing things that I love, getting criminals off the street, solving crimes, and making money. So if you want to go in on that, we could cover more ground if there's 2 of us.
Can we steal pets too? Do that?
I want to say yes, but not on the mic.
Like it's like a side hustle. So
I love everyone's pet so much. But I threaten to steal them while they're sitting there. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm going to steal your dog because it's so cute.
I told you I was
and they're like,
steal
that's
your dog.
not funny, but I fucking warned you.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just so cute.
Yeah.
So I think we should do that. I want to solve some goddamn crimes.
Let's do it.
So Paul traveled to the Florida Keys where we could have caught him and had a sick vacation.
Yeah. Coconut drinks.
Right? Fresh coconuts just sliced in half while we look for this fucking murder. So he got a hotel room under an alias, of course, and he lived off the $12,000 that he withdrew before the murder, which completely says premeditation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. He swapped the license plate on his blue Toyota Camry. And also, he kept it covered with a tarp or a cover while it was in the motel parking lot.
Like the VIN number and stuff or something?
While he was in hiding, Paul considered killing himself. He even ordered an assisted suicide handbook a few days after the murders.
What's a handbook for... I'm so confused. What is an assisted What is it?
Well, I'm sure
Step
there's
1.
just ideas about how to do it, or because people do kind of do it wrong or in a way that's most painful. I believe the handbook would just detail the smoothest, most peaceful ways, and especially it's probably made for cancer patients or people that are with terminal illnesses that I believe there was wasn't there an episode of what's that other podcast you like where they talk to criminals that are kind of on the edge of criminality? Was it?
No, wait. On the edge of criminality?
Well, there was this one episode about a woman who helps people with assisted suicide.
It is criminal.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
So I was really interested in that episode. I thought it was really, really crazy and interesting. And this is what I assume he was getting, was kind of a package from one of those types of organizations that she worked for.
Yeah.
That was helping patients that were struggling with illnesses that were very painful and eventually going to kill them anyway.
Totally.
You know, so I think that's the kind of handbook that he got.
I think if you fuck up on something once, you're not allowed to fuck up again. And he's already tried to kill himself, so
Clearly,
that's your
you can't
handbook.
handle it. Like, yeah.
You've already practiced. You
Right,
don't know
like,
more than most
You're
people.
not going to do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. He's clearly had enough guilt where he wanted to kill himself, but he was already struggling with depression for a long time. So even though he ordered that handbook, and he also got a bunch of supplies, including helium, plastic bags, scissors, duct tape, and tubing, he didn't follow through with his plans.
You making a bong? What is that? Tubing.
Death by bong.
That'd be fun.
Over a month went by. There was no trace of Paul. Nobody had any tips. Nothing was coming of it. The story aired on America's Most Wanted and brought more attention to the case, but still nothing for a couple days. But then the owner of Edgewater Motel, where Paul was staying, saw Paul's face broadcast during a college football game, and he called in the tip.
Yes.
Finally, someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be a terrible, I don't know, the holidays are passing by. All these survivors and victims of this crime are still sitting out there during the holidays, lost family members, and they know he's still out on the street. Imagine the terror of thinking he could come back. We were the target.
Yeah.
The family was the target, so
Job
he's
isn't
still out on the
finished.
streets.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and it's terrifying that the people can't find somebody that has a known identity. It's not like it's just a missing pic. Like, they know his identity, and
Yes.
it's hard to find this person when it's...
It's not like, just look for something ambiguously suspicious. No, this is the dude. Please
Yeah.
help us find him.
Look for a dude that looks just like this weird sketch. Like, that's kind of hard.
Yes, definitely harder.
This is like, they had his ID. They know his name. The guy at the motel should have caught on to that. Not even just recognizing him.
It was an alias.
Oh, it was the alias.
Yeah,
okay,
he
but
used a
it's
fake
actually-
name.
You don't need an ID for... What kind of hooker motel is that?
I know,
What kind of-
right?
You know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Crack
and
motel.
again, maybe he premeditated it such that he had a fake ID.
Ah, true.
Who knows? Yeah.
I forgot there's ways around these things.
Right?
This doesn't make sense.
You know why you forgot that though? Because we're not murderers.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel safe. So the hotel owner, he called in the tip, and after 40 days in hiding, Paul was apprehended on January 2nd. So the entire holiday season passed by, and these people knew that he was out on the street.
Look,
That's
they just
so
spend
bad.
Christmas all fucking scared.
Yes,
That sucks.
I know.
Mm.
The police said that Paul had been following the manhunt on the internet.
But he couldn't Google ways to kill himself. He needed a
He
whole
needed a
fucking
fucking
handbook. I hate him.
I know. During interrogation, Paul rambled on and implicated himself in roundabout ways, but he didn't admit to his direct involvement in the murders. Like, he basically said he was there, but he wasn't the gunman, kind of thing.
Yeah, I was there. I didn't have any yams.
Everybody said it was me.
Yeah.
I was the only fool that didn't eat,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely not a murderer.
Definitely not.
Those are all clues, cops.
Yeah, I brought my guns. Did I bring them out?
No, they just stayed in the car
Yeah, I'm
where it's nice and warm.
food coma. I don't remember.
That tryptophan hit those guns. They had to take a nap. So he still seemed kind of out of it when he was being interrogated, and he began asking the officers how long the process would be. Right? Weird. He asked if he was facing a long trial, which they're cops, like that's not their thing. And he specifically asked if it would be approximately a year or two, which is
Yeah, what are you
fucking
planning?
specific. I don't get it. So he also asked, what about afterwards? What's the worst case scenario for this? You fucking
Sorry.
bastard.
So, like, what's the worst thing that
Right?
could-
Like, oh, you mean all your family's dead? Like, yeah, that's kind of the worst case scenario that you just created, you
Yeah.
fucking dick. So Paul was charged and taken into custody. The state's attorney's office announced that it would be seeking the death penalty for the case. Although Paul, on the other hand, hoped that he could avoid capital punishment, and his hope was that he would actually be able to be in one of those prison hospitals so he could get some mental health treatment.
Oh,
you know?
okay. I was gonna say the trial will be really short if you just kill yourself.
I don't condone suicide
No,
ever.
I don't either.
But I mean, this is going to cost the state a lot of money.
If he's got a lot of fucking
and
questions.
all of his family members are fucking hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah, this dude, oh man. I'm mad at him.
He acts like he's got
He
a date
ruined
in
my
like,
holiday.
he's got like a date in like 2 years. He's like, I need to know
Right? Like,
if I'm gonna be out.
are you sure? Like 2012, I've got somewhere to be. So I'm going to need to be out by then.
I was thinking about going back to college. So
I'm going to become a doctor now. I'm going to save lives. No, you're not, you fucking dick. So later, Paul would say, quote, "It's impossible to reconcile what happened with me. It's just not even real. I'm not violent. I've never been violent. I'm not a criminal or a drug addict. It's just unbelievable what I've done to everybody." Amazingly, Paul's mother and father continued their relationship with Paul, which I just don't understand.
there's something weird about that too. I don't know.
Like, I try to just say to myself, I don't know what it's like to be in someone else's shoes, you know? But, and I give people the benefit of the doubt of just like, you're grieving. There's no rule book on how to deal with this situation. And maybe clinging to him may help them in some way.
Yeah, let's just assume like we know what it's like to be in other people's shoes. Because I really like doing that. Let's just pretend.
Like, I don't know. Like, I want to be compassionate about it, but I just don't understand that. I would be so fucking angry and hurt. And I would never be able to have a relationship with my son, you know?
Never.
Never.
You took away 2 of my kids.
Yeah, I don't understand that. It's very weird to me.
And you already didn't like us. Like, fuck,
There was
dude.
already tension.
Makayla.
Yes.
First off, Makayla. Fuck the not fuck the twins.
No.
But just like, you know what I mean? Like, twins aside,
There's
you
just
shot
such
Makayla.
a severity. Yes.
Yeah.
You're the twin daughters, your sister and Makayla, and this unborn child.
Oh, yeah.
And additional family members that were just there, you know? They were never part of the conflict. It just blows my mind that they could continue a relationship with him.
Agreed.
I don't understand it. So Paul told his father that he thought about the victims a lot and pictured them in heaven.
Is the OCD coming into play? Because you can obsess over that shit.
I know,
For
right?
the next how many years you're in jail.
He said that he couldn't understand how he could have done what he did to the family and how he could have hurt everybody. His father, Michael, told Paul, "We have nothing. You have nothing. It's a total nightmare. Our lives have changed forever." I feel so bad for his parents.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I just feel terrible. And his mother, Carol, said that her life was ruined after losing her 2 daughters and having her son go to jail. So, like you mentioned, I did want to kind of go into a bit of a tangent about OCD, because typically we don't associate OCD with violence. And kind of reading not his concrete diagnoses, but what his family members had said that he was struggling with, you know, it doesn't kind of make sense. Depression and OCD are just not something we associate with murder. And I didn't think about how it could progress to violence.
Yeah. Maybe self-harm more so.
Yeah, like it really isn't intuitive, you know? So I read something that was interesting to me, and I kind of wanted to explore this tangent. So I want to explore it not to like stigmatize or demonize mental illness, because of course that's always the opposite of what I'm trying to do. Because I believe that if you understand something and you understand your diagnosis and what kind of treatment options are available and what resources are available, then the possibility for treatment is there.
Agreed.
And there's more hope and a better outcome. And I don't know, you can kind of fix things. There's a solution, you know?
Yeah. It's better to know what you're dealing with instead of just going in there blind. Like,
yeah.
You know.
So I don't know. I wanted to explore this OCD link to violence kind of thing.
We're going to explore together?
Initially,
Do I take my top off right now? Or
just bend over. Just be chill, bro. So Dr. Stephen Alexander was the chief psychologist for the Palm Beach Circuit Court. And he explained kind of what his theory was of what happened with Paul and how his OCD progressed. And I think it's interesting to explore. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit. So Dr. Alexander says that it starts off with some sort of hurtful offense by his family, either real or perceived. So we don't know if this is something that actually happened or if just, those little things between family members that become like a little hurtful that aren't really a big deal or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that's ambiguous, but it could be something that's major. It could be something that's minor. It could be something that didn't happen at all, but he kind of took the wrong way and never really communicated it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps after the breakdown, Paul was jealous of his sisters. Maybe he felt unsupported even though his family was trying to support him. There was something that was this feeling that they weren't there for him. It could be a feeling of failure on his part. It could be something else entirely. But there was something that happened. And it must have happened around his breakdown because he was so stable before then, right? So it was most likely something he perceived as hurtful, whether his family knew it or not, And as time went on, it grew into a major resentment. And as the resentment grew, it turned into rage. And the thing about OCD is that his OCD would have made him revisit that a lot. Whereas a lot of people would just move on and let it go. Or like, I can imagine if you or I hurt each other's feelings, we would just talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, that's not cool. And then it would be over. And for Paul, that kind of wasn't possible. He just kept having it in his mind and revisiting it in a very obsessive way because of the OCD.
And revisiting rage over and over and over will drive you crazy.
It wasn't just the hurt or what happened. It was this anger that he would return to and obsess and revisit.
Which makes sense why he wants to get like even. And if you're just
Yes.
obsessing, you want vengeance.
Yes.
Revenge.
So as he obsessively revisits those feelings, the rage grows, the resentment grows until he starts thinking about killing them. At first, Dr. Alexander explains it would be kind of like standing at the edge of a cliff or at the edge of a building. This is the analogy that he makes. And you think, normal people would think, what if I jump? There's weird, like fleeting feeling that a lot of people have. And then you feel uneasy and you step back because you're like, I'm not going to fucking jump, right? But for Paul, if he encountered that situation, he would step back and then keep coming back to the cliff because his OCD would be like, what's up with this feeling? I got to go see what's up with it, and then keep going back. So Paul, he may have thought, what if I kill them? And then the thought passes, but he keeps revisiting the thought and obsessing over it until it becomes reality for him. Dr. Alexander also adds another interesting thing about the family history, which I didn't know, was that he may have felt legitimized or justified in his fears for his family harming him, or that his life was in jeopardy or something to that effect, because there was actually a murder in his family history.
What?
Yes. So it wasn't immediate, but Paul's aunt had killed her husband and her two children, and then killed herself. So Paul, he may have felt that conflict or fear was more real than just imagined, because it had already happened in his family. He may feel that, oh, this could happen to me too.
There's mental health issues, obviously, in his family.
Yes.
It's not addressed, or shouldn't that be mandatory if like anyone fucking murders someone in your family, you guys all get psychiatric evaluations?
Everybody's getting a therapist.
Yes.
Yeah, group rate.
Totally.
So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting to explore because, of course, I'm not saying like OCD leads to murder, anything like that, because none of these diagnoses lead to murder. And that's specifically my point, is anything that is treated, it doesn't have to progress. There's solutions for everything. There's treatment for everything. You can always get help. But this specifically for Paul may have been how his OCD progressed into violence, which we don't normally associate with OCD.
Yeah.
So it's just a theory. It may be completely wrong, but it was something that I read and I was just like, holy shit,
Yeah, and it seems like when he's in prison or whatever, he's probably on medication constantly.
Yes.
So now that he's like reflecting on things, he's like, I don't know how I did that or whatever.
Right.
You're not constantly taking medication, but now the OCD is manageable because someone's forcing him to manage it.
Exactly. Yeah. And at this point, you have that clarity because you're like, that's a different person.
Yeah.
Because your brain does turn into something different when you're untreated. you know?
That's hard to be held accountable for shit that you like. It's not that you're coherent, but you know,
Yeah,
if someone
you're
held
not
me,
yourself for sure.
if people held me accountable for everything I did when I was blackout drunk,
Yeah, we don't we don't want to do that. Which related, you still owe me an apology for no.
I was like, oh my god, I'm sorry. What did I do?
No, I mean, I think it is like, you know, being held accountable for your worst actions, you know, none of us want that.
No.
But at the same time, most of us, percentage-wise, are not going to go to this extreme. So unfortunately, he does have to be held accountable for not being consistently treated, taking his medication, because he was a 35-year-old man at this point. He really needed to be consistently seeing doctors and taking medication. And if he wasn't, that's kind of his responsibility.
And you already tried to commit suicide. You should have already been under watch. You should have already kind of been taking care of your
For
health.
sure he was seeing doctors.
Yeah.
We know that. We know that he had medication, but he just wasn't consistent.
Boo.
You know? So I don't know. I just thought it was something interesting to explore. And of course, that never excuses murdering 4 members of your family and ruining everything for many people that you care about. But it's just interesting to see maybe part of the motivation or how it grew in his mind.
Good insight.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Of course, OCD would make things worse and make things grow in his brain. One of the ways that I like to think of it is OCD would make it kind of this involuntary reflex. Like someone hits your knee, your leg goes up, but if some event happens, you're going to keep revisiting that when you have OCD. So I don't know. Eventually, of course, as the idea of harming his family became more concrete, he started planning, it entered those stages, and Dr. Alexander theorizes when Paul went to the house that night, he might not have been 100% positive that he was going to kill anybody, but he knew that he would be, quote, ready to do so, which is an interesting distinction.
You know, Makayla just triggered it. He's
Yeah.
like, now I'm
she's
definitely
too cute.
going out.
She's too grateful.
Too cute. That sucks.
It's just, it's fucking terrible. So the defense, of course, used this information and began planning a defense of insanity. But soon they turned their attention to a plea deal because this is a capital case. They want to avoid the death penalty. So if they could strike a plea, that would mean that no matter what, even worst case scenario, he would live, because if there was a plea, the max sentence would be life in prison.
Is that really living?
Not really, but
but
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like when you're in that situation, I don't know, weighing it out. The fuck
is that Christmas music? I hope. I've been jamming, dude.
So before a plea deal is finalized, the judge has to accept it. So if the judge accepted the deal, the most he could get sentenced to was life. But if it went to trial, of course, there was the possibility that he would be sentenced to death. And the family was divided on the issue. Some people, especially Makayla's parents, wanted him to be sentenced to death. Others, including Paul's brother-in-law, Patrick Knight, the one who lost his wife and unborn child, and was also wounded in the shooting, he just kind of wanted it to be over. You know, he also felt like he lost everything and his life had changed forever, and he was ready to just move on with his life.
And he didn't want death penalty?
No,
wow,
because
nice guy.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. But of course, he's just kind of like, are we going to just have a trial for years? Then after the trial, even if he is sentenced to death, we're still going to go through years of appeals.
True.
So then 10, 20 years later, we're still talking about the same case. And I just want to be able to emotionally move on and grieve.
Aren't you doing that either regardless?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But for him, I mean, for some, again, I don't know what it's like to be in that situation.
True.
For him, he's just like, it'll be easier for me to move on if I don't have to keep showing up at a court.
Totally.
Just keep seeing his face, the whole thing. So at the hearing, Jim Sitton, Makayla's dad, begged the judge not to accept the deal.
To go to trial and then pursue the death penalty. Okay.
Jim even got on his knees while pleading with the judge, but he was quickly ordered to get up off the ground by deputies. Through the hearing, he held locks of his daughter's hair.
Oh, chills.
Butt chills?
Can't.
Looks like
Butt
arm chills to me.
Ugh.
So his wife, Mariel Sitton, then told the judge how she would never forget seeing Makayla's body on the stretcher and knowing she'd never hear her daughter's voice again.
Stop.
I know.
Butt
It's
chills.
fucking heartbreaking. The judge decided to accept the plea deal.
Oh, I quit. I'm done.
After the
What?
hearing, Mr. Sitton said, if the death penalty isn't for this guy, who's the death penalty for?
Totally.
I mean, so many members of his family, you know? The judge decided to give Paul 7 consecutive life sentences, which was the strongest sentence he could give. Without the death penalty on the table, he could only give 1 life sentence for each person that he had harmed. At the sentencing, he said, "You'll never see the light of day again."
That compromise? That kind of is compromise,
Kind
right?
of compromise. But I don't like that saying about the light of day because I feel like it's really dramatic. Because there's light in jail.
He's like,
There's
yeah,
windows. There's the sun still exists.
when I
you're
go
in
to the
jail.
yard, there might be a little light.
But I feel like
It's
it's this kind of
overcast.
God complex of a
Yeah.
judge. Just like, you'll never see, like, I'm the decider or
Yeah.
whatever.
Ooh,
But,
unless you're in the hole, then you really don't see the
well,
you don't
yeah,
see shit.
maybe.
Maybe he just has to be in the hole because I'd rather take the death penalty. Seriously. Oh,
It's
man.
terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah. So after the plea was accepted, the Sittons filed a lawsuit against Paul's parents, Michael and Carol Mehrige, alleging they'd invited him to the gathering without warning everybody that their son might be dangerous.
What?
Yeah.
Ah.
So to add to all this tragedy you've already went through, you're going to start doing lawsuits?
Don't be sour.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
the
it's
judge.
awful. It's a fucking tragedy.
Yeah, it is a tragedy, but you can't blame. It's a tragedy
But
for them
nobody
too.
knew. And
Yeah.
it's a tragedy for them. Everybody went through it. Nobody knew that was going to happen. I can understand that he's like, your son's dangerous. He shouldn't have been allowed to come. But I don't know. It's a tough line.
I
Like,
see
it's
that.
nobody's fault. You can't blame the parents.
Yeah,
They had
at
nothing to
all.
do with it.
And then making them go to court more.
Yes.
When, yeah,
they've already been through so much.
Yeah, some people just need people to blame, and I get that. I
Yes.
totally get that.
Gotta
but
point a
just-
finger.
Yeah, you're trying to take money away from somebody that it's not going to make it. Like, I don't get how
It's not going to bring your daughter back.
exactly the
And
consequence.
that's so
doesn't-
sad, but it's true.
Like, it's basically saying money is going to fix it
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know. It's just very frustrating.
One of the worst parts about the lawsuit that I thought was, I believe the number I saw was $12,000. Like, that's not even a huge amount of money. What's the point of even doing this lawsuit?
Yeah.
It's not even like you're suing them for the damages of like millions of dollars. It's
Yeah.
$12,000.
Is it the
Like,
funeral costs? Because they're all paying for funerals.
Maybe.
This whole
Oh,
family is
maybe.
paying for funerals, which is shitty.
no, it's
like,
awful.
Yeah, I mean, but fuck. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they hope to accomplish, but
Yeah.
I can understand that instinct of being like, someone has to pay for this.
Yeah.
Especially because they were very clear about wanting to get the death penalty, and not getting the outcome that they wanted
yeah.
may have led them to be like, well, we need to get something.
Yeah, what
Somebody's got to pay for this.
And it's weird that it's the same amount that he had in like savings too.
Right?
Kind of random.
Maybe I'm fucking up those numbers.
You just like 12,000. But
Hashtag
even then,
math, hashtag drugs, all these hashtags. So the Sittons lawsuit against the Mehrige family was eventually dismissed in 2012 after it was determined that the Mehriges had, quote, no legal right or ability to control the actions of their son.
yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Agreed.
So much what the fuck. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I can understand why they did it, but still, it's just, there was no way they could have done anything.
Yeah, I'm glad that didn't go through. That would have been like
Yes,
really.
I would have been so bummed.
Yeah.
So the Mehriges, in turn, filed a countersuit against the Sittons in 2011, alleging that the Sittons were to blame for the bloodbath. However, I don't know exactly what the reasoning was. I have no idea, because to me that seems like there's no basis there. Like, your house was triggering for him?
Yeah.
Like, all those decorations just really got him worked up. Like, I don't understand what was behind their lawsuit.
They're like, no, you really invited him.
Right.
We got the text messages.
Subliminally.
That's so weird, because why would you even try and just stop?
Yeah.
Like, did it feel good when they tried to sue you originally? So we're just going to do it back.
But
That's
families so often just deteriorate into madness. Like you just see this where, even with one, like when my grandpa died, like my dad and all his siblings were just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. You don't think it's going to happen in your family until something happens. And then people are scrambling to try and get at each other.
Yeah, death brings out the worst in families.
Yes.
Sometimes it can be opposite,
Well,
where
yeah.
funerals and people get drunk and have a good time, but sometimes it's just awful. When it comes down to money
Yes.
and I don't know.
It's mo money, mo problems.
Can you sue people for being dicks?
I would love to. There's a ton of people on my list.
I'm suing you. I'm suing you.
You're a dick. You're a dick. You're cool.
Can I? Yeah.
Fuck you.
Can I sue my 7th grade teacher?
If you can, I'd love to sue my 3rd grade teacher.
Okay,
So
cool.
let me know. What is it, like mental torment or like
Yeah.
I'm suing you for damages in my adult life?
Yeah, my fingers are permanently damaged from macaroni pictures
Oh no.
and lanyards.
Oh, that's what it is?
I have carpal tunnel from lanyards.
Shut up. My 3rd grade teacher actually hated me though.
What?
Like for real, she really hated me. Yeah, she
Why?
told my parents that I was dumb.
Well,
The-
I mean,
the very next year I was put in like advanced classes. Like seriously. Like I think she was probably the one that ordered testing because I remember taking like IQ testing and whatever, like because she thought I was dumb.
she's like, let's see how dumb she really
Right?
is.
And it backfired. I was like advanced out of classes. It's fucking crazy. She like held up one of my pictures I drew in front of the class and just fucking shat on it. Like just talked so much shit about my tiger that I drew. Like, I don't know, I'm what, 8 or something? Why are you fucking shitting on my tiger? Why are you picking on kids, dude? Like, I'm not supposed to be fucking Picasso, right?
Oh man, I hope she was just downing bottles of whiskey in like her drawer. It's like next to her Snickers, and she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
fuck this tiger." I
I wish that was the case. I genuinely think she hated me. I've talked to my mom about it, and she's like, yeah, she hated you.
What? Your mom concurred?
Oh, for
my
sure. They called like a parent-teacher conference,
No
like the
way.
whole thing. This bitch did not like me. I was fucking what, 8 or 9? She just did not like me.
All right, we're suing her. Let's
Yeah, I
fucking look her
totally.
up.
I'm all for that.
Does she have
was
a Facebook we
weird.
can report?
I have no idea. Fucking 3rd grade, Mrs. Luna.
Mrs. Luna.
Yeah. I don't know. Like,
I feel like I knew that.
I don't know. There's something wrong with her. She needs some links in our show notes.
Mrs. Lunatic, am I right? I hate myself.
I see what you did there. Good dad joke, bro.
I'm the dumb 3rd grader. Can we test me out of this podcast? Or can we just...
Oh man, I need you though. You know what I mean? I need all your 3rd grade antics.
I have a 3rd grade dad.
It's the best dad. So, all these lawsuits going back and forth, which we need to get in on. While that was happening, Patrick Knight also sued his former in-laws for failing to prevent the killings, including, of course, he's basically suing them for the death of their own daughter, and which was his wife, Lisa, and their unborn child. And I don't know. I mean, it must have been the same grounds that the Sittons had, where it was just like, well, you knew he was troubled.
Yeah.
There was history, blah, blah, blah. It must have been the same thing.
But that's like accusing them of purposely like not protecting their own kid, right?
Exactly.
That's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really logically make sense for the Sittons about their 6-year-old daughter. And I understand the emotions behind it. But especially, you're saying you basically wanted your daughter to be killed.
Yeah.
This lawsuit would be alleging that you were complicit in the death of your own daughter.
I'm just going to keep pepper spray in every fucking room so I can never get sued for some dumb shit. No, I protected you. It's right there.
So, needless to say, of course, nothing ever came of that lawsuit as well. So even though there were like 3 lawsuits within this one family within a couple years of each other, nothing happened. Everything was dropped. So it was
Thank
just
God.
wasted legal fees pretty much. Or at least that's my interpretation.
Yeah.
So just to end things on a positive note, as I like to do, the Sittons started a foundation for Makayla in her honor to carry on her love of dance and music. And they put on an annual concert that has been started in her honor.
Aw.
And lastly, they had a baby girl in 2012.
Wait, which ones? The Sittons? The
Yeah,
pair?
the Sittons.
Oh, so like a new kid?
Yeah.
That's cool.
She got pregnant around the time of the trial.
That's
actually.
awesome.
She was pregnant during the time that the plea deal was accepted.
Hooray.
So I don't know. I
Congrats
just
to them. That's positive.
want them to have their little family unit.
Yeah. Everybody's lives were ruined. So
I know.
Maybe that'll be some positive.
Something
Something
I
good.
need something positive. I'm grasping
Yeah.
at straws here.
Seriously.
So that's our Thanksgiving twins episode.
That was good. What's that?
Gobble, gobble, motherfucker. Man, yeah, I don't know. That story gets to me for some
That was
reason.
really sad. Anytime kids, man.
Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday.
Oh, it's not
and,
the kid dying.
You know, kids are
Thanksgiving.
shitty. No,
Yeah.
no, I don't know. The kid thing really gets to me.
Yeah.
It really does. And I always like fight back, like, don't cry. Don't be a little bitch right now.
Yeah.
But it does.
Yeah.
And then I try and not focus on it and just focus on Thanksgiving because that makes me feel better.
Mhm, but Thanksgiving was ruined, so.
Yeah. At least we have yams.
Yeah, we do. I
The
had some
saving
yams.
grace to all things.
So good. I had some with the marshmallows yesterday at a
And brown
Friendsgiving.
sugar?
Mm-hmm. Everyone was too high to shoot anyone. It was we were so baked. It was so baked.
Maybe they needed weed at their Thanksgiving.
Like a
it
lot
could have
of
saved
weed.
lives, man.
I smoked 2 joints at the same time as double puffed,
Killing it.
and then ate a bunch of food. It was good. But
Yams
didn't want
and
to kill anyone.
joints.
Yeah, yams and weed.
Oh man.
These holiday ones are good. I remember that Christmas one with the flamethrower.
Oh
That's
yeah.
always in my mind.
Right?
Every holiday.
That was crazy.
Insane.
I know. There's an extra element of just intensity when you add the holidays into it.
Because they're already kind of fucked. Like, it's already, at least my household is already, like, we're just waiting for someone to crack off at the table. I just feel like
Right.
putting everyone at the same
I dare a
room.
motherfucker to say something.
Yeah.
I'm whooping you on sight.
I said, pass me the rolls, man.
There's
Hands
kind
on
of always
sight.
going some fucking drama.
Yeah.
Here.
I've seen my brothers fight outside. Thank God they got older, but I've seen them fight outside so many fucking times.
How many
Someone's
times
wife-
have the cops been called to your house?
Only when I'm there. It's truly, honestly, maybe like me and my dad take the.
Yeah, you guys win.
Yeah, we win. Win.
I thought there was more for some reason. I thought your brothers got the cops called or something. But
No,
maybe I'm
they
just
just-
making things up.
There was one time my brother, I don't know how he got out of it, but he tased the neighbor, and then we had helicopters. No, wait, the
How
neighbor
can you
tased
say
my
that?
brother.
That's so
so
like
good.
nonchalant. What the
I was
fuck?
cheering
Back up.
outside my window too. It was so good. Like, get him! Fuck my brother. No, I think my brother was really drunk and he was like walking. He was coming home from the bar and he's being loud, yelling at his girlfriend in the truck. And my neighbor comes out and's like, "Hey, shut the fuck up!" And then my brother runs up onto this guy's yard on his lawn, and the guy's like, "Hey, don't come any closer. I'll fuck you up." And then my brother thought
Don't
he was
tease me,
cool.
bro.
He fucking, and I heard my brother scream so. He was like, "Ah!" It's kind of like the turkey. It was the funniest
How
shit.
festive.
I fucking laughed so hard. I was like, yes. Man, if anyone deserves to get fucking stun gun tased. It
Yeah.
was so good.
Yeah, that's true. He had it coming to him.
Oh
He
my
probably avoided so many tasings up until that point.
So many ass whoopings. It's insane.
So many.
Thank God. It was definitely around Christmas time too. I remember it was really cold outside and then there's just helicopters above.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I mean, the holidays just bring out this intensity in people. Like
Yeah.
everything's amplified. You're super emotional, you're super happy.
Mhm.
Then your sadness is like super sad.
Yeah.
It's not just regular sadness.
Yeah. And then you're just sad because you're alone and then you can't buy gifts for people and then you just,
Yeah.
it just goes down. I'm not buying any gifts.
Oh,
ever.
no. No.
Ever. Just
Never again.
No.
The holidays are canceled.
Yeah. My gift
I'm
is
just
me.
going to come over and eat all your food. I'm going to show up. I'm going to be the gift.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Unwrap me. Slowly.
So I think that's going to be it for
Yeah.
our Thanksgiving episode. So if you haven't followed us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, head over there. We've got, updates on episodes, information on our Patreon and Threadless. We've got memes and all sorts of interesting information.
Yeah.
And timestamps are always going to be in the show notes. It's too late for them now, but just remember that for next time, as well as links to resources for domestic violence, CPS, mental health, suicide prevention, anti-bullying, all sorts of stuff. And you can always check us out on Patreon for bonus episodes and merch, and Threadless for more merch, including like t-shirts, phone cases, housewares, all sorts of shit.
Mm-hmm.
All the good-ish. And I think that's it.
Would you like to and chill?
I would love to deep throat and chill. So we'll see you next time. Hope you have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
I mean, I know it's weird to do a murder episode, but it's not that weird. Thanksgiving is a very murdery holiday,
It's
right?
about slaughtering turkeys.
It's about slaughters.
Yeah.
And Native
and
Americans.
Native Americans. Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Buckle up, because Metro is bringing you the best deal in wireless. Switch to Metro and get your choice of 2 awesome free phones from top brands like Samsung and LG with huge HD screens and tons of memory for all your pics and videos. So hurry into Metro and get your awesome free phones only at Metro. Plus sales tax and activation fee. Requires port-in of eligible number not currently active on T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. Limit 4 per account or household. Restrictions apply. See store for details and terms and conditions.
And now, a thought from Geico Motorcycle.
It took 15 minutes to take a spirit animal quiz online.
Please be the cheetah. Please be the cheetah.
And learn your animal isn't the cheetah, but the far less appealing blobfish.
Oh, come on.
To add insult to injury, you could have used those 15 blobfish minutes to switch your motorcycle insurance